It's rolling.
Excellent. Okay, so this is another meeting of the newly named Ascendant Spinfoil group. This is just a place for the clan to get together, have a discussion, bounce ideas off our heads, and just kind of theory craft about the madness that is Destiny 2. With the recording in process, make sure that if you wish to share your voice in your comments, that you have the correct settings set up in your profiles. It is not mandatory to be a part of this group, though. As always, this is a place for dark and crude humor and Destiny 2 nerd stuff. So if those ain't your bag, this ain't for you. Moving on.
That's right.
All right. So first off the bat, you guys gave me some homework last time we did this, so I did a little bit of digging about Uldren solving his corruption.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, I wanted to hear more about that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
Maybe a recap? Quick recap?
Okay, so quick recap. During the discussion that we had last time, I made comment to the effect of Uldren Sov was actually corrupted by the Garden of Salvation, or the Black Garden, if you'll pardon me for slipping.
Oh, I looked up the name of those flowers. Hold on, let me do it.
You did.
Oh, I sent you the stuff. Okay, awesome. Never mind. I'm good.
I got it. It's all good. So I could not, unfortunately, find the video for the that took me off down this rabbit hole. So I did a combination of banging around in Destiny lore and on the Ishtar Collective. A lot of good stuff there, but of course now my internet is being slow as I'm trying to pull everything up. The basic gist of it is Uldren had a very close friend that was a part of his crows, and Uldren had a lot of very close interpersonal relationships. Very, I wouldn't necessarily say friendly, but much more personable than he was when we met him in D1. So I believe Jolin was the guy's name that he went into the garden with.
Yes, that is correct.
So him and Jolin broke into the Black Garden. Initial goal being Uldren wanted to dig up some secrets from Mara. Problem is they didn't just stay in the area that we messed around with. He went beyond the Vex areas, down deep into the Black Garden. Now, the way I understand this is that while he was down there, he picked a flower from Mara. You can see these in the Dreaming City, and he brought it back for Mara to plant. I'll pull up the name of that here in a minute. It does not directly state, like, as he was going through the garden, he got a prick. What it is in the lore book, I believe it's called Length of Chain, entry 2. It's talking about his after action. He's talking to his sister, and he's got his crows there with him. And as he's drying off from cleaning himself after the mission, one of the crows makes comment to him, says, "Uldren, you have a hole in you." And he looks down, having just come back from the Black Garden, and in the back of his hand there is a small, perfectly round hole ringed in black. So my personal theory I subscribe to, and the theory of others, is that is when Uldren first went from being on the edge of light and dark to being pulled towards the dark, allowing Riven to corrupt him. Okay. And the name of the flower is the Asphodelia.
Pretty name for a pretty flower.
They are only found in the Black Garden, and it was the gift that Uldren brought back to Queen Mara. So, what that means, though, is, don't get me wrong, Uldren already didn't trust the Guardians, but by the time we meet him in Destiny 1, he's already been to the Black Garden and back a long time ago. So, what happened in Destiny 2 with him killing Cade and Riven getting into his mind and everything else. It is a progression that has took place over a great period of time. Now the question becomes: is how susceptible is the new Crow to it?
Fair.
Especially now that Savathun's been fucking around in his head, right?
Exactly. Now, the theory has been proposed that that is part of the reason why he went back to the Black Garden and got his butt whipped by a Minotaur. This is after he got his memories back from Savathun, and he was on his way to go join the Cabal outpost, and he made a pit stop and squared up with a Vex Minotaur, and it killed the ever-living shit out of him.
Makes sense.
And his ghost is like, dude, you know, why the hell did you do that? And he's like, I had to know. And the ghost is like, know what? And he's like, Uldren Sov beat one of those, but I couldn't. I'm not the same man. He's not me. So I think that's one of the things. Hopefully Bungie puts a little bit more of it into the game itself now that he has his memory back. I think we're going to see a bit of psychological conflict with Crow as he tries to not only reconcile Uldren Sov's memories, but basically show that, no, I am Crow. I may have been that man in a past life, but that is not me now.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that covers the homework assignment.
All right. So I know on the top of everybody's mind is WitchQueen, right? We are one day away. Everything's about to change. It's too much to even almost process.
I've been looking into it all day and my brain's on overload.
And that's not even including whatever kind of... They didn't do all this marketing in vain, right? Like, they're going to blow our minds with something, some kind of big reveal, some kind of lore drop, some kind of something, and they know, like, they've got it in their pocket, they're waiting to drop it. Like,
Yeah.
That hasn't even happened yet. So, so where do you want to start then? Let's start getting into all that juicy shit.
Let's start off with a little piece of Ascendant SPINFOIL that has been banging around inside my brain pan over the last couple of days. So I was running Presage, and, you know, I'm sitting here listening to quote-unquote Osiris say his lines and everything. And it gets to the part where Keitel is freaking out because she's seeing the general melt from her homeworld on the day it fell. And asked Osiris, who we now know is Savathun, why? What did you see? And Savathun made comment of the foolishness of my youth, blind faith burned away by logic, things of that nature. There's another line in there I'm forgetting. So I'm starting to think that we're not going to kill Savathun.
You know, that's actually a hot take. Some people think we are going to kill her in the campaign, and that's the natural progression of things. And other people would be upset if that's the case, that she's kind of a one-and-done type deal like Aramis or whatever. Although Aramis is still alive, that's a separate topic.
Yes.
First, if we are killing Savathun, I think it's going to happen in the raid. But my personal opinion is that Callus is in the triangle ship.
Could be.
Hold on, I gotta adjust my music because I can't hear 12. That means anybody listening won't.
Well, to reiterate what 12 just said, he believes that the big baddie we're going to fight in the pyramid ship is going to be Callus. That's a possibility, but we are in Savathun's throne world, so I don't know.
Well,
I was throwing that out yesterday with the Crown of Sorrow.
Has it been legitimately confirmed that the swamp we see is in Savathun's throne world? Because if so, I have missed that.
So, yes. The way it has been described by the Bungie devs is that the upper portion of the throne world is all gleaming white and architectural and very unhive-like. And this represents Savathun taking the light and restructuring, for lack of a better way of putting it. Whereas the lower portions are all gross and claustrophobic and hivey and swampy, because that is the darkness and the influence of her worm that has not yet been pushed out.
Okay.
So, pardon me. But to continue on with that, I think Savathun is going to become not necessarily a good guy, because Savathun is Savathun. A leopard don't change its spots. But
this leopard can't, because it's not bound to a worm anymore.
Yes, but at the core, Savathun is still Savathun. Even though the worm will not kill her for changing her nature now, we're talking millennia of being a schemer and a puppet master. But I think what we're going to see, though, is that Savathun is going to be instrumental going into the final shape. Because we got a god to kill, like capital G God.
Yeah.
Yep. Like makes other gods or bitch god, yeah.
So that's coming, and Savathun is the best asset we have to get to that point. Not as good as if Oryx had betrayed the darkness, but still pretty darn good.
I still think her plan has something like Xivu or Wrath in it. I was almost expecting Xivu or Wrath to be in that crystal, honestly. I mean, I know it probably wouldn't have happened,
season. Like,
yeah.
I could almost see her trying to trick her into, because she knows she's being hunted, so I can almost see her, trying to trick her into something in between us, you know what I'm saying, so that we target her instead of Savvy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Xivu is still going to be a threat that has to be put down, absolutely. I was surprised when Osiris was inside the cocoon, which means that Savathun basically was like, could have left any time she wanted, as far as I'm concerned.
Or did.
Or did.
Yeah.
However, this does bring into picture a rather troubling development. Because at this point in the storyline, Savathun has not yet taken the light. I'm assuming that's going to be an opening cinematic for WitchQueen or a live event tomorrow, one of the two.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But on the list of dangerous artifacts that Mara has collected, we have an Ahamkara egg, and let's add a worm god larva to that.
Yeah.
You thought the tower was bad about keeping fucking insanely lethal shit just casually laying about.
Yeah.
So I'd like to add on to that worm when we get a moment.
Oh, no, by all means, go ahead. But just to put a point on it before you launch in, let me put a point on that. The worm we removed from Savathun is not a parasite. It is a larval form of a worm god.
Yes.
Which are cousins to the Ahamkara. Well, I'm sorry.
Correct.
Most people assume they're cousins to the Ahamkara. I don't have anything that says that. I was
going to say, where'd that come from?
The worm gods are technically dragons. They're technically Ahamkara dragons. They refer to them as both. As worm gods and dragons.
So I will go digging through the lore to get you an answer on that 12. That'll be my next homework assignment. But Payne, please make your point.
Okay, so Oryx's, I'm sorry, not Oryx's, the king's familiar, their father, right? The one that died.
Mm-hmm.
They took his worm. I believe that is the same type of worm that Mara now holds. I believe
Correct.
that worm was removed from somebody, and that started taking me back. It doesn't talk about like what happened before the Osmium Kingdom. They don't really, get into that much. But I'm wondering if that worm was part of the father at one point, and it was removed somehow, but he kept it. And maybe that's
No.
part of the reason why he went mad on top of his age. But it also says that the worm washed up on the shore, so it came from somebody.
Yeah.
I think it came
That
from
was my
someone, but we
understanding.
don't know who.
Most likely, the host died. Because the contract that the Osmium Court entered into when they took the worms was that, one, they would always keep it fed, and its hunger would continuously grow, and if they did not keep the worm fed, then the worm would devour them. And
Yes.
2, they must remain true to their natures, and if they betray their natures, then the worm will devour them. That's why the Hive have this whole pyramid scheme thing going with the sword logic, where basically it's a tithe going all the way up to their particular Hive god. Because that's the only way that Oryx, Zivu-Arath, and Savathun were able to stay alive.
Yeah, that worm directed them to the ship. It told them to dive. Mara now has a similar worm. What's it going to do?
Don't know. I'd like to assume that, well, Mara's probably savvier than their father was.
Yeah, probably. She's
She at
not
least-
old and decrepit.
She at least
Well-
understands what it is she's playing with.
Yeah.
But it's more the point
although they
of-
may be similar in age.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
Mara's not
Mara
older,
is
due to the
ancient.
distributary.
Yeah.
12.9 billion something.
But
Ridiculous.
yeah, I
That's
just
good, though.
wanted to take
Yeah.
a moment to point that out, that, sentient weapons, tech magic hybrids, a taken Ahamkara egg, the heart of an Ahamkara that was taken, and now a baby worm god. Why not?
Sure.
Yeah, she's starting a zoo.
Yeah, who's the real threat around here?
I'm just saying, nuking the Dreaming City doesn't sound like a bad option at this point.
Sometimes. And
Yeah.
I say that as all 3 of my characters are awoken, mind you. Right? Like... I don't know who schemes more, Mara or Savathun, right? Like,
Yeah.
they are
Which
both
one's
just...
got more practice? Like,
Like-
they've both been around for a long time.
And that said, I could see more of that dynamic. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing, like, the 2 of them just trying to out-mind fuck each other.
Well, that was something that was telling. Some people may consider it a throwaway line, but I seriously doubt it personally. When you were doing the exorcism mission and Petra tells you to protect the 2 queens.
Yes. Yes, I heard that. Holy fuck, I forgot about
remember
that. Isn't that fucking wild? Like, am I being an alarmist, or is that not, like, sketchy as shit?
No,
To me, that was
I remember
sketchy as
hearing that
shit.
too. And
Bro.
I don't think it hit me till S just said something.
Like, why would you refer to a worm god as a queen fucking anything?
Well,
Like,
I think she was
isn't this
referring
like a
to
sworn enemy?
Savathun.
Yeah, she was like Savathun and Mara. That's what I got from it.
Yeah.
The 2 queens.
Yeah.
Well, I'm viewing Savathun and the worm as 2 separate and distinct entities.
I guess I have to get used to thinking that, but...
There now.
Spoiler
But, I mean,
alert, the Dreaming City is Savathun's throne world, and it's an image we've been seeing this entire time, but it doesn't really exist.
Fucking Savathun is Mara.
oh my god.
I'm telling
Heavy
you.
fuck.
That smile after the exorcism mission, when Sheila was
Yeah.
like talking to you and she was like, I have the worm now, like that was the most evil smile I've seen on her face ever. And that's pretty substantial, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was some creepy stuff.
Because if she's not being imperious and condescending, she's being fucking weird.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Eris
don't
knows.
forget vengeful and hateful.
So, on the off chance that some shit ain't going on with
Ooh.
Mara, is it possible that the worm is already influencing her just by being in her possession?
Yo, I just had a thought that may
Yeah, 100%.
support
Yeah,
your theory. I was just thinking about when's the last time I saw Mara look like that, right? Because I was thinking, of examples to support my statement. You know what came to mind?
What?
When Riven was dressed as Mara talking to Uldren. That's what it
Yeah.
reminded me of.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very real possibility.
So this may be just me being a pig, but take it for what it is. I noticed that Mara wasn't looking her foxy self on that exorcism mission.
Looking more like a B cup this time around, eh?
Like she was wearing some frumpy uniform. The thigh-high boots were gone. I'm like, damn girl. I know we're in
was your
quarantine, but
imagination.
shit.
Right?
She didn't have on a usual thong.
You must have a different version of Destiny than me. We need to talk later.
Yeah, right. Like, where do I get that mod? Huh?
I need to see them patch notes, buddy.
Hey, I
Yeah.
used to jump over the bar counter so I could look up Moxie's dress, whatever.
I'm on fire! I gotta run away, guys. Bye-bye. Alright, so, yeah, let's get back on track here and not neckbeard out.
Yeah.
Anyways. But that was, yeah. All of that definitely ties together to make a very strange picture. So there is a possibility that the Marasov that we've been dealing with
is not, in fact,
Mara at all.
Oh, wow. Okay. Ooh.
Yeah. I would find that hard to believe with all the Techians running around and Petravenge and all that other. But then
if
again,
it's not, then there's the bold statement that the Techians inspected Osiris and verified that it's him.
Yeah.
Right.
On top of that, nobody else could tell that it was Osiris at all, including Saint, who is literally his partner.
Literally.
If Saint couldn't tell, then that's a pretty fucking good disguise.
Okay, well, to give Saint some credit, I mean, how long was Saint lost in the corridors of time?
I mean, fair, but...
I mean, come on.
You could be different without your ghost, you know what I mean? That, like, Ikora changed a little bit, right? When she lost her light. And
well, most Guardians, when they lose their ghost, become downright suicidal. Not in terms of, I'm going to go out and off myself, but I'm going to prove that I'm still just as good and put myself in these insanely stupid situations and die from it. It's like most hunters that lose their ghost, they like take off on missions and are never heard from again.
Yeah.
It's like we have to deal with Osiris waking up, right? Thank God he's not dead. I thought he was dead at first, and then he was like, he's in a deep sleep, and who knows if at least there's a chance, right? So we have to deal with him. We have to deal with Keitel. We have to deal with Crow, right? We have all this shit to deal with. I feel like putting another big spin on top of that is not the Bungie way.
Well, no, the Bungie way is to drop like all the threads to start a eighth one.
And who knows when you see that shit again? Whether you liked it or loved it or hated it, who knows?
I mean, how long did it take us to get more information about the stranger?
Yeah. Might not hear about Crow for a while or something, or they might save it for the DLC.
So I think we'll see Crow. He was in footage that they showed of the new season.
Plot twist, that was Destiny 3.
Lore-wise, he was, what? He went with Keitel to get away from the tower, politics to get away from Savathun and Mara. He just kind of took off, right?
Yeah. He's just
of his own free will, I might add, right?
Yeah, he asked to go, and
he wasn't sent.
Ikora assigned him to Keitel.
Yeah, which makes sense.
That's right. Yeah, he was assigned to Keitel. Oh, that's going to be interesting.
Who has been out in the reef, right?
Dude, I think Crow's going to be a big player this upcoming year because
I think so too.
They've been building some shit.
we've seen a lot of, in my opinion, Crow has had like one of the best story arcs I've seen in this game in a long time so far, and I think they're just going to keep building on it.
Oh yeah.
New sidearm, the spoiler alert too.
Okay, so somebody's gonna die.
Yes.
In this new season.
Yes, absolutely. Whether
That's
it's at the
fact.
beginning or halfway through, no
Someone's
one knows
dying.
yet. Because
Also, Spider.
I wonder if this one is quite as big as Cade, and I only say that because with Cade, they straight up revealed who it was,
they
like,
told us.
out the gate. But this one, they haven't, other than spoiler alert and confirming that someone will die, we have zero actual information as to who will be the one to go.
Yeah, I mean, it could be Sweeperbot.
Yeah.
It could be Spider.
The whole thing with Cade dying and them revealing it in the trailer, that was, and because there's a, for lack of a better way of putting it, historian. He doesn't do lore, he does the history of Destiny.
Yeah.
He did a whole video, I think it's Evan F 1995 or something like that. But he did a whole thing about Forsaken and about how that was basically Bungie's Hail Mary to try to save the game. Because if you look at the subscription numbers leading up to Forsaken, Destiny was on its last legs.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, we don't do subscriptions, but if you look at the player numbers, bro, like, they brought back Trials, and I think the game barely cracked 6 digits.
Yeah.
Now, compare that to where we are now, where we've got 1 million pre-orders for WitchQueen, you know?
Yeah.
But basically...
That's money in the bank on top of all that Sony money.
Yeah.
Bungie ain't eating PB&J no more.
My understanding is the reason that they just, like, revealed right off the bat that they were killing Cade was that was their hook. This was okay, we're going big, and, you know, it paid off. Because it got people going, wait, they got all the veterans that had quit to go, wait, they're killing Cade? Hold on, what the hell's going on here? And that's part of the reason why, that's one of the reasons why people look so favorably on Forsaken is Forsaken brought Destiny back from the brink because it was in a horrible state prior to that. And then in conjunction with that, for a lot of people, that's what brought them back or what got them into the game in the first place.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, they're probably going to play their cards close to their chest this time, but it's probably going to be at least a well-known character. Maybe probably not as big as Cade, but...
Well, who do we have that is like that? Everybody loved the unicorn.
Yeah.
I mean, Osiris could still die.
Osiris could still die.
It's going to be hard to repeat that as well, though, because at the time they killed off Cade, Cade was also one of the only characters in the game with a developed personality.
Yep.
Because they could have killed Zavala. They could have killed Zavala, and everybody would have been like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
You mean the blue guy that gave me my first gun? Okay.
Yeah.
That guy with a really tight butthole.
I'm saying that Osiris' death is not off the table. But if the pattern follows, then the first quarter of the year is Cabal, the second quarter is Osiris, and then the third quarter is Rasputin. That's been the pattern since year one.
Yeah.
So, crazy idea. I have nothing to back this up. This is just me throwing stuff against the wall. Ikora's going to die.
Yo, that's
not a bad theory.
That's interesting.
I have a counter.
Now,
I don't agree.
Hold on.
That's okay.
Here's where that's coming from, because I don't just.
Yeah, no, I'm interested to hear that. Like, what makes you think this?
So, Lightfall is the next expansion after Queen, right?
All right.
Yep.
Okay, well, what would cause the tower to fall? The tower leadership is very broken at this moment. The council's gone, the speaker's gone, civilian control is pretty much done.
Oh yeah, the factions are done too.
At least one of
And
the 3 Vanguard is gone.
what did it do to Zavala when the city fell during the Red War? He was a broken husk, giving up all hope on the Moon Titan.
Yeah.
What happened when Cade died? Such a heavy
Zavala
blow
lost
to
his shit.
Zavala.
Yeah.
But
lost
he
his
couldn't
shit, he
do
lost his
anything.
credibility.
He couldn't do anything because of his obligations. To the point where Ikora called him a coward to his face.
That's still a very powerful cutscene.
It is.
Now,
And isn't it
what
one
happens-
of the? Yeah, not the. I'm not gonna get squirreled. Go ahead.
what happens if Ikora dies? The last of his fire team. The only person he has left to lean on.
It's
now-
gonna break him.
Here's this man who's, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to dog on Zavala, but here's this man that's already given up once, that now has no support left. Everybody's counting on him. What happens when the hammer blow falls?
I mean, it's a good way to launch into something that's titled Lightfall.
You get a glimpse of it in the Dark Future lore book.
What happens to the tower in the last city when the last of the Vanguard is gone?
No longer protected. It's up for grabs or destruction.
Because here's the interesting thing, is the hunters don't have a Vanguard because nobody wants the job. They view it as a punishment. That's what led to the Vanguard Dare with Cade 6, and I forget the name of his mentor.
Andal.
That sounds right.
Andal Brask, I think.
Warlocks are a whole other animal. Warlocks are, forgive me, political and cunning and conniving creatures.
Somebody's not a warlock main. Jeez.
All that fancy book learning. Well,
I mean, I'm not either. I'm not into rogues
Ikora
that
has
much.
already directly referenced, though, that she has her hidden, but there are other factions that strive against her, such as the Praxic Order. So
And what's her nuts? Shayura is just out there slaying fucking stasis wielding guardians. Vanguard be damned.
So who's to say that if Ikora falls, there wouldn't be infighting in the ranks of
The Warlocks.
to see which faction gained power? And then what's Zavala going to do to stop that? Is he going to send the hunters already aren't around and off doing fuck all?
Yeah.
Is he going to send the Titans in to stop a Warlock fight? What do you think the Titans ranks would do if they were ordered to go put down fellow Guardians?
So you think Lightfall?
I think potentially Lightfall could be the entire crumbling of the existing hierarchy of the last city.
Guardians. Yeah.
That I agree with.
I
Hence the lore
could
book.
100% see that.
All right. So I like all of this. This
By
is
the way, if
interesting.
any of that comes true, Bungie owes me a beer.
I think, I think that's how this game is going to end. I think it's going to end as the Dark Future says it's going to end. I mean, stories don't always end good, right? With everybody fucking jumping up in the air. Yeah, high five, man, we won. That's not how it always goes.
No.
So
Depends
I
on
was
the
thinking
area.
about this the other day.
No.
We could still be on the dark timeline.
Entirely
Yeah.
possible.
Like, there's nothing to indicate that we haven't, like, whatever, cast off the potential of that future. That's still 100%. I mean, Savathun just took the light, or is about to take the light in one day. What says to you we're winning this fight? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Winning, no. However, Elsie has said that she is hopeful and that things are progressing in ways that she hasn't seen before. So while we may not be out of the woods, we're also not locked into the path.
so in lore, we're at least not. Yeah, okay, but still,
not as screwed as we could be.
What you mentioned, Brain, actually kind of leans into the little tidbit of a fan theory that I had mentioned earlier. In lieu of not winning this fight, my fiance and I were talking about the game and possible theories, and something that he brought up was that looking at what happened the last time the Traveler, as I was corrected, ran from the darkness, ran from Oryx. With us now wielding the darkness regularly and in open defiance or what have you of how the Traveler has felt about it, he came up with the theory that it is entirely possible that the Traveler could begin to see us as an enemy and might actually take our light away, basically abandon us like it, not abandon, but leave us like it did the Elixni.
no, it straight up abandoned them. You are 100% correct.
But
it noped right the fuck out of it.
Straight up, like, what's to stop the Traveler from abandoning us like it did the Elixni and taking our light away, which could also tie into the title of Lightfall.
Well,
it didn't give the Elixni light. They just like to pray to giant circles.
They had their own golden age, but they didn't have guardians.
Yeah.
Two things. One, what kept the Traveler from shagging ass like a deadbeat dad last time was Rasputin had a big planetary cannon pointed at his head.
Which he did not. They proved he did not, but that was on the table.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not saying that he fired on the Traveler. I'm saying he had the protocols ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. That's something we didn't talk about in the last two times at all, really, was Rasputin. I don't know if we want to get sidetracked there, because I don't think we're going to see him in WitchQueen. We have one day for WitchQueen. I want to talk about WitchQueen.
Well, I wouldn't mind digging into Rasputin a little bit, but I do want to get the WitchQueen stuff. You know, we can talk about Rasputin whenever, because there hasn't been anything new on Rasputin since frickin' Beyond Light launched.
All right, I got a crazy idea. We have someone here with us that is special guest. Ryingo? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm just listening in. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, right on.
Well, you're more than welcome to participate. Sorry, we get going sometimes, and
I don't know. It's okay. It's okay. Well, how I take the lore in is I just kind of like watch it in like as the game kind of like gives it to me, and then most of the time like I would get like some of like the stories from like of course like the lore tabs in the weapons, right? And then or in the armor, and then that's basically how I learn more about the world. I like taking it in as how the game kind of like gives it to me, per se. I don't know, it's just I like it being in the moment of like how they present it. But this is really cool.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with enjoying the game in that manner. I say that to everybody. But the limitations of the media, they can't make a game big enough to encompass everything.
That's true. That is true. I do have a book. I have the Fallen book for that.
That's why so many of us turn to, like My Name is Bipe and other sources to fill in the blanks.
Yes.
They're very good at it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not enough to know that I'm shooting this undead monstrosity in the face. I want to know why. What's his motivation?
Oh yeah.
What's my motivation?
Thinking murder.
I have a question for you, Ryingo. Since you haven't really had a chance to What are you most excited about for WitchQueen? Let's just go there. Out of
Most
everything that's coming, there's so much. But what do you think?
Well, you already know what it is. It's raids.
Oh.
Yes.
It's the raids. That's the only thing I look forward to in this game.
You're right.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I should have
Raids
guessed
gets me
So
that.
excited for it.
going.
That's
Yeah,
where
you
Yeah,
Maggie,
should.
no
raids.
less, right? LFG
Yeah,
raid.
raids. Yeah, raids gets me going in this game. That's actually sometimes how I get into the lore as well. Like learning about like Riven, of course. Like, what's the dragon doing in this freaking tower? Like, why is she here? Or like just learning more about the enemies and yeah, and why, what's the purpose, and also learning about some fire team that also went against these guys that you know they kind of
Well,
struggled, but here we are. Well,
we kind
most
of
of the time we're cheesing
established that if your fire team of 9 gets turned into a D cell, you're a chump.
Oh yeah,
Fair.
that's scrubby as fuck. What was her name? I've heard it a million times. Okay, so
Yeah,
does
I don't
that
know.
confirm? All right, so Scarlet Keep first Nightfall of Witch Queen. Does
Hashladoon.
yeah? So does this indicate to me a Savathun song, Grandmaster? Is this happening?
I really hope so.
I'd be disappointed if they didn't.
Yeah. Even if it's
I'm
not
good.
the exact same as it was in year one, I 100% fully expect a version of that or of that strike, especially as a GM for next season. It
And
wouldn't
you'll
make
get it.
sense if they didn't.
You know, speaking of Savathun's song, and forgive my bias, I'm a Titan main. I like punchy and funny stuff. What I would really love to see is if they do pull the thread on Savathun's song and she uses it to do something funky to the city. Just have a quick little cutscene of all the people going crazy and losing their shit and, you know, whatever it is Savathun is having them do. And then it cuts over to Lord Shax standing under his Ahamkara skull, and he just looks up at it and goes, "Shut up," and goes back to what he was doing.
Oh, that
You
would
know,
be
I totally
hilarious.
got a visual with that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nobody asked you.
And you're
I mean,
still not throwing enough grenades.
Right?
don't make me raise my voice. Because really, who cannot see Lord Shax doing something like that? In all honesty,
The same guy that used to fist fight Ahamkara? Yeah. I mean, he was there in the Great Ahamkara hunt too, with like Ikora and
oh yeah,
here, right? When they
from what I
wiped
understand, he killed
Ahamkara out
quite
of
a
the solar
few.
system. Yeah. You would think they might have a grudge.
Just a bit.
Or maybe.
I don't
Guardians
think
did that.
so.
Guardians genocided the fucking Ahamkara, by the way.
That's
For
true.
anybody that didn't know.
I did not
Well,
know.
oh yeah,
Yes.
no, they call that's
That
the
was
story
Tower
behind the Great
sanctioned
Hunt
operation.
armor.
Okay.
That's what
Was
they
that not
called
a
it, was
Mara
the
request,
Great
though?
Hunt. No.
They were deemed too dangerous to be left alive.
Because you had a bunch of Ahamkara that were running around, and every time somebody came across one, they'd get fucking monkey pawed. And the tower's like, all right, look,
As is customary for Ahamkara, that's kind of their whole
you
deal,
know,
right? Like, if you didn't learn
basically,
by now.
the tower was like, look, we've had enough of this shit. All right. This is like the third plague of locusts this month, and we don't know what's growing out of Jeff,
Like,
but
we don't have enough
enough's
sweeper
enough.
bots for this shit.
Right?
It's like, Guardians, do something about this.
If you
I
guys
seem to
haven't
recall
seen
that
the
was a
lore on the
Mara
sweeper
request. I don't
bot,
know why.
it's very cute.
I'll have to look it up. I have not gone into specific lore regarding the sweeper bot.
It just popped up one day on my YouTube and I watched it, and it was cute. It's short. It's not a long video, but yeah, there's a thing.
I just discovered you can ride a sweeper bot.
He's done things. He's seen things, man.
Well, you're talking about the Roomba. We're talking about the actual like robot in the tower that stands there and sweeps the floor
Yeah.
24
Rusty.
hours a day.
Yeah, the one that's an agent of Callus.
Mm.
No,
Yup.
that's
Or was? Is?
or isn't it?
Could be.
Callus still alive? Wearing the crown of sorrow?
Well, I mean, that's fair. Werner was a different sweeper bot, I think. There's, like, different ones.
Is it racist if I say they all look the same?
No.
Anyways. I took us a little far afield on that, but I'll go ahead and capitalize on the mention of Callus. The Crown of Shadows is currently in an unknown location, possibly within the last city. So yeah, somehow.
You think this is going to make an appearance in WitchQueen?
I don't think it's in the city anymore.
Yeah,
I think it has been.
Letting Osiris get his hands on that is seeming like a bad idea.
That was Ikora's idea. Ikora's the one who entrusted it to him. Osirathun.
Well, here's the interesting thing, though, is what is Savathun going to be able to do with that thing, considering it's chock full of hive magic, and I don't think she can do hive magic anymore. Am I mistaken in that?
I don't know.
More to be revealed.
So, oh fuck, there was something I wanted to bring up, but I forgot.
Yeah, don't you?
It was relevant to what we were just talking about. Anyways, sorry, carry on.
Well,
I forgot.
Because my understanding is their hive magic comes from the worm. Or are they? Because I don't think they're actually tapping into the darkness.
I don't think the krill are intrinsically have dark magic or whatever, is kind of where we're at, right? Like, that's kind of what we're kind of getting at. Like, through a covenant with the darkness and the worm gods is how the three sisters got to be what they are. Well, the two that are left, 1.5? Something like that. Anyways.
1.5.
Yeah,
we'll call it a half. But now that she has forsaken her worm and embraced the light is generally speaking the antithesis for the dark.
Right. So she's embracing the darkness's enemy.
Right.
So is she starting a war on two fronts right now?
Well, she's not really at war with us yet. That's the thing, is aside from kidnapping Osiris, which is totally a dick move, she hasn't really taken overt action against the tower, and she had opportunity.
Well, she's manipulated others into doing that, but I guess we're in that realm where it's like, I don't want to even want to say it, but it's like, the Vanguard can't prove it. Like, they know she's done all manner of shady shit, or what? Like, they can't hold her accountable?
Well, I'm referring more to the fact that she was in the city for how long?
Yeah, she's just that powerful.
And, aside from feeding her worm off of lies and deception, what did she really do?
Yeah.
The Vex invasion, that was, unless I'm mistaken, that was all Zebu Arath's doing.
You're talking about Shadow?
It was Savathun. Never mind. No, I was thinking of the season of the Splicer.
Oh, yeah, because she set Quoria on task. That was her? Is that what happened?
I believe so, but I think she, after going into this season, I think she flat out says, like, hey, I showed you who your enemies were. You should be thanking me.
Yeah, she said that to us in that weird, sardonic gaslighting. That's what I'm thinking of. Like, she just gaslights the fuck out of us all the time, and it kind of pisses me off a little bit, like in a humorous way,
Yeah.
Like, bitch, I know you scandalous. You can stop now.
Yeah, like we know you've been here. We know you've been manipulating us. You don't need to rub it in. We're aware that we were not aware for
Unless
months.
you're
Thanks.
Ikora, then you're like, here's all the Vanguard secrets.
Yeah.
Right?
Thought you might like
You want
these.
my social,
Osirathun,
you want my social security
Savathek.
number too?
Right.
I don't know if I want to steal that personality. I might give it back.
Yeah, right. I had my identity stolen. I found him crying under a bridge. He's really good.
I'll take that double Nova bomb she can fire off, though.
Right?
Same.
Or a Nova bomb directly into a Nova warp.
So,
Yes.
okay, that's what I wanted to bring up. I don't know if you guys have heard about this or talked about this or if I missed something, but this is confirmed, right? Okay, so there was some additional shit that came with the collector's edition, right? As is custom. And I don't mean the UHF, that's a whole nother conversation, like the actual Hive transponder or whatever that came with it. I mean like some lore, dialogue, text type shit. And it's specifically
like
about
Lotus's
Ikora.
Diary.
So a little bit about Ikora that I learned very recently that I did not already know. She is potentially the hands down most powerful guardian alive.
Yeah.
This is a throwback to her being undefeated in the Crucible as a blank lock. Like she retired out of Crucible. Like she doesn't do it anymore.
Dude, she
Undefeated,
scares
mind you.
Lord
She beat
Shaxx.
Shaxx. Yeah. When she got tested, because apparently warlocks test each other or guardians get tested as to like gauge their power. Even with
Space herpes.
her holding back, she still destroyed every single metric by a lot. So this is who we're dealing with here. And the idea that she fell for Savathun's bullshit, she pretty much gave her the keys to the kingdom. I think it may be her that gets her mind fucked up, not Zavala, right?
Yeah.
And that's a pretty dangerous asset to be let loose, not to take away from her identity as an individual or as a person, but the way they were talking about her, like she's kind of like a loose nuclear weapon. Like you should kind of know what's going on with that, right?
You definitely should.
And if the guy that has, or the woman, whatever, that has the keys to the nuke is very mentally unbalanced or unstable, or perhaps just got rickrolled by the hive god of cunning, there may be ripples, maybe bigger than ripples.
I'm just saying, if Ikora is saying she's having a bad day, I'm listening.
Yeah.
Well, she has no. Who's her confidant? Who does she have? Zavala? I don't think that's the strongest of relationships. Cade was closer with Zavala, and Cade was closer with Ikora, I think, than Ikora and Zavala were ever, right? Like he was the bridge.
For the longest time, and this is coming full circle, the number one confidant and mentor to Ikora was Osiris.
I'm good.
And when we found him on Mercury and everything else, she was ecstatic and started having happy fun time sharing with her favorite teacher again.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, before I launch this Grandmaster, sorry to interrupt, for background or whatever, we're at 54 minutes right now. I'm not opposed to starting a new one if everyone wants to continue. I will do editing magic or whatever. I'll figure it out. I'll do some research before I post it. But if you guys want to keep rolling, like we'll pause here and then I will start another one here in a minute. This will be a nice moment for everybody to get a drink or use the bathroom or whatever it is you want to do, right?
Yeah, let's go ahead and hit the pause button for a minute, and then we'll pick back up in, say, 10 minutes.
10 minutes,
5 minutes?
Yeah, and if it's anybody's out of time and they gotta take off, thanks for joining us and good night. And
Yeah, you don't smoke that fast, and if you do, call me.
Well, you know, no comment. Actually, it's probably the safe bet.
It's like when you watch that single mom hammer down a Capri Sun in one suck.
Like, I bet she wishes to have vodka in it right now, probably.
Probably.
All right, so I'm going to officially stop.